almost 30 years, but I almost didn't last my first 30 days. In college, I was a Division I scholarship athlete. I was a four-time letterman at Texas A&M University, three-time academic All-American, and I earned All-American honors in track and field by throwing the discus. And all I ever wanted to do at that point in time was be a track and field coach. But when that particular dream for my life failed to manifest, I had to put my finance degree to work, and I took the very first job offer that I received, and I became a stockbroker in Houston. I was working 10 and 12-hour days, prospecting for clients, while I was studying for my Series 7 exam. 300 dials a day, talk to 30 people a day, try to close 3 deals a day, all to give it to my senior broker. And I almost didn't last my first month. I mean, I really hated it. I was ready to quit. And until I found a book that gave me my first breakthrough in prospecting. And that's when I had the first big breakthrough in my sales career. Now, that was in the mid 90s. And, for you youngsters out there, a lot has changed in selling, but a lot still remains the same. Now, my second big breakthrough came a few years after that when I learned the importance of win rates and closing ratios. And I was able to double my results by doubling my close rate, just by becoming a better closer. I was able to double my results and double my income. Then my third big breakthrough, I realized that I was still limited by time, and I had to maximize the use of my time. And so this big breakthrough came around 2005. I was working for a corporate training company, and I learned how to make the best use of my time by using a tool that I've been using for years, and just by using it better. That was Microsoft Outlook. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's webinar. But first, I want to let you know about the Sell Smarter with Microsoft Outlook program that we're going to be hosting live with no power interruptions, hopefully, next week, June the 15th from 9 to noon. Now, although it is live, the recording will be made available for registered participants. And normally we charge about $475 for this. And you'll understand why when you see the value of it. But we have a special coupon code that we'll be giving out at the end of today's webinar, at the end of this webinar, that will give it to you for $47. That's over 90% off, people. Now, we'll have more details on this at the end of the webinar, so just keep tuned. All right, so what we're going to cover today, the topic of today's webinar, is how to improve your sales results with Microsoft Outlook. So we're going to look at a few things. First of all, why salespeople don't close, why they're not closing more sales. Okay, we're going to touch on the most common reasons that salespeople don't close on their sales. And this will help give us some insights on those areas where Microsoft Outlook can actually help us in a real way. And then we're going to get into the Sell Smarter method of using Microsoft Outlook to help us close more sales. And then I'll launch into a demonstration using my very own Microsoft Outlook to help us, and show you a couple of simple changes that will prove just how powerful this tool can be, and really how dysfunctional it comes to us from Microsoft. And then I'll continue the demonstration by emulating the way in which the Sell Smarter method really helps us manage our day-to-day selling workflow. And then last but not least, we're going to go through how you can implement your own Sell Smarter method and put it to work for you. All right, so without any further ado and delay, let's just jump right into this, and let's take a brief look at why salespeople don't close. And there's a great article out of Harvard Business Review that goes over the reasons salespeople don't close. And the number one reason that they point out is that salespeople aren't trusted or respected. That's the number one reason that salespeople aren't closing sales. The people with whom they're talking, their buyers or potential buyers, don't trust them. They don't respect them. Now, there's a number of other reasons like bad communication skills, not enough product knowledge, not enough selling skills. But this is the number one reason. And we're going to dive into this. We're going to focus on this here a little bit. And this just starts begging the question, why aren't they trusted? How can salespeople build trust? Okay. How is it that salespeople can actually build trust with their potential buyers? Well, Harvard Business Review starts giving us some reasons or some ways in which we can do this. Number one, have integrity. Okay, the first way to build sales is operating with a high level of integrity. And this means offering your buyers, your potential buyers, solutions that actually solve their problems. You know, it basically at the end of the day, when you boil everything down and every other kind of buzzword and cliche you can put to it, integrity boils down to this: doing what you say you're going to do. That's all that integrity is. Do what you say you're going to do. And I like to use a very provocative example here. Please don't take this the wrong way. A provocative example out of history was Adolf Hitler. A very evil man, but he was a man of great integrity. He said what he was going to do. He wrote it down in a book called Mein Kampf, and then he did it. And then finally, when the world woke up to it, we had to eradicate that evil from the face of this planet. But integrity is basically that: doing what you say you're going to do. And to build trust in sales, you need to embody the mindset that the relationship between you and your client is something to be cherished, and take a long-term view of it. And basically, whatever you say you're going to do for your client, you've got to fulfill it, because every time that you don't, that trust is gone or it's never built. And that includes when they're a prospect. If you say you're going to send them a report, if you're going to say you're going to follow up on a certain day, you got to do it. That's the number one way to build trust. The second way is to be consistent. Okay, the core principle is consistency in your approach. Now, this is how you're dealing day to day: consistently showing up for work, consistently utilizing the same steps, consistently following a sales process. So, if, for example, if you're going to be meeting with a new potential customer, a new potential buyer, and you would initially use a discovery call to qualify their potential, um, then use a step-by-step sales process to learn if there is an actual need to serve them. That's one example. Another example is how you go about managing your day to day. Be consistent in how you do it. Because if you have to make it up every single day, it's like you're reinventing the wheel all over again. If you're consistent with your planning, if you're consistent with how you execute your to do list, if you're consistent with these processes and these practices, then that will boil through, that will filter through to the way that you treat your buyers and your customers. When you're consistent, your results will be consistent. When you're not consistent, then your results will be the same way. Okay. The next way in which we can do this is by being reliable. There's a little bit of difference here between this and integrity. Reliable, it goes hand in hand with integrity. Your word is your bond. And if you're not reliable, if your potential buyers, if your customers see you as not being reliable, you will quickly break any trust that you have built up. And the foundation for your relationship is going to be very, very weak. Now, short-term minded salespeople, they like to think only about the quick sale, and they don't think about the long term. What's the relationship going to be like with that customer? And they don't. A lot of these people, they just don't seem to care whether or not they can actually deliver on what they say they're going to do. Now, they don't care about the bad image or any of the other ramifications. So reliability is very important. Also got to be knowledgeable. You've got to have the right knowledge and experience to help your potential buyers from where they currently are to get where they want to be. And this is product knowledge. Now, let me kind of throw a counterweight against this. So you don't have to have all the answers. One of the most liberating days of my career was the day when I learned how to say, I don't know. I always thought I had to have the answers. And that was very, very stressful for me. But when I learned it was okay to say, I don't know, but I'll find out, then I started to get a lot more trust with my customers. And I got to help people the best way that I possibly could. So if the next one is being curious. This boils down to questioning skills. When we're curious, it is actually an excellent way to build trust for a salesperson for two reasons. First, it'll demonstrate that you truly care, that you want to find out more about your buyers and their struggles and how you can help get them to where they want to be. That's what's important. Okay. if you have the right probing questions and how to get them from where they, to guide them from where they are to what they want to be, your questions will be so strategically delivered that it will actually guide them into your particular solution. Now, secondly, it'll give you the chance to help your buyers sell themselves. So if we're guiding them there instead of trying to sell them and push them there, it's a much better way, a collaborative feel, and that trust just gets increased. And then lastly, but certainly not least of all, is listening. If we're asking the right questions, we got to demonstrate the skill of active listening. And many people make the mistake of listening purely just to formulate a response. And contrast that to asking questions that really give clarity on your buyer's situation and how they think and feel about their pain points and issues. And if you're good with your active listening skills, you can actually start building empathy and offer solutions that go along a much farther way to align with their beliefs and their values. Okay, now out of this list, if we look at the top three of them: integrity, consistency, and reliability, okay, these are three areas in which we can focus, and that will help us boil all of this down to follow up. All right, doing what we're saying we're going to do and how to manage our day to do it. So what we want to do is focus on how our salespeople are following up. And the reason why that is so important, we see that trust is in the follow up. But yeah, that's great, Scott, but prove it. All right. Well, here's some research, and I think this comes straight out of SalesLoft. And this is nothing new. Over the last 5-10 years, this has been widely reported. You know, these statistics should convince even the most skeptical salesperson why it is so important for you to follow up on leads, follow up with potential buyers. Is that according to this industry research, you know, it takes between 8 and 14 touches to get that prospect to becoming a customer. 8 to 14. And that number is increasing daily, it seems like. Every time I've seen the study, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. 10 years ago, it was 5. Then 5 years ago, it was 8. Now it's 14. And it's just because the marketing landscape, the messaging landscape is getting so crowded and so crowded and so crowded that we have to, as salespeople, it's boiling down to the follow-up. And those who do follow up and nurture their leads are experiencing 47% higher profit margins and 47% higher closing ratios than those who don't. This is the result. But here's the stark reality. Less than half, only about half of salespeople out there are making only one call, one touch, one outreach to try to get to that prospective buyer. When 80% of sales require at least 5, and the average requires up to 14. So if that's the case, why? Why are we not having salespeople follow up on it? Well, there's a number of reasons. Number one, there's too many leads. That's kind of cut off there, but that's too many leads. And that's absolutely correct, because marketing in today's landscape, it seems that marketing says everything's a lead and just dumps every PDF download, every webinar attendee, every little thing onto the sales department to follow up on. And there's just a mindset, and it's kind of grown that way, that if anybody has an interest in a value added type of item and downloads it, goes to the website, does anything like that, they've got to be a lead. And then salespeople need to talk to them. Okay. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Number 2 reason, there's no follow-up system. This is very important, because if there's no system for follow-up, how can we expect our salespeople to actually do it? If we don't give them a way to do it, then they're not going to follow up on it. How do they keep track of all that stuff, which goes hand in glove with this? Salespeople forget. Look, we're ADD and coin operated, and we chase after the shiny things. And so if I have a lead that doesn't seem as hot for, or as farther along in the sales process as a different one, I'm going to chase the one that seems good. And that other one just kind of get tossed out. I might come back to that later. And then, we've got other things going on too. We've so many salespeople are being tasked with things like lead generation, which is a big no-no for if you're a top, if you aspire to be a top selling organization. Lead generation should not be on the salesperson's docket. They should not be one of their tasks. They've also got to do the reports that you require them. They got to go to the meetings, as you say. They got to close on the leads. A lot of small mid-sized businesses don't pay their salespeople until the salespeople get paid, which really puts them then into a position of being the collections department as well. So they got a lot of stuff going on, and they forget about the leads that just didn't seem so hot at that moment. Also, we're not giving them the know-how. We're not training them as well as we should be. We don't have the process. If we don't have the process, if we don't have the way for them for them to follow up and close these leads, how on earth can we possibly train them? Okay. And lastly, there's a call reluctance because the mindset is I'm afraid of getting turned down. If I get a no, then I can't, then I've got to kind of go out and get new leads, or I have a fear of rejection. And another big breakthrough in my career happened about the same time I got to learn I don't know was that yes makes me money, no makes me money, I don't know will drive me broke. So I start coming from a position or a mindset of abundance, the abundance mentality. There's more business than I could ever do, and there's more customers than I could ever deal with. I don't have to get them all. I don't have to be afraid of losing them. And you know what? As a professional in my field, I actually enjoy being able to pick and choose my customers, those people with whom I want to work. And I'm not afraid of no. So with all of that, let's focus in on sales people forgetting and how all of this just seems to, okay, we forget about the lead and we lose track of it. It falls through the cracks. I used to have a monthly exercise before I had automated systems of going back and reviewing all of my leads and seeing which ones that I had kind of slipped through the cracks. There's a number of reasons that salespeople forget. We're distracted. Like I said, we're ADD and coin operated. And one of the big sources of our distraction, very simply, is one source of it is email. Let's talk about the information we're getting, from text, from instant messages, from email, from everything. Okay. There's a lot of it that drives us to distraction, just like any other knowledge worker out there, but so much more so for salespeople. So I'm going to focus in on here just a little bit. Email overload, the cost of email overload and the distraction of it. And let me start by asking a question, a very simple question here, which is, how many emails do you get in an average day? Now, there are some people who might get a couple hundred. There might be some days where I'm not getting enough. I say as a salesperson, I don't get enough emails. I'd like to get more, but I get a lot of junk. There might be, only a few out there that are high value and represent, business development type of stuff. But all of that averaging out to be about 50 emails a day, just for the sake of our discussion. And I don't think that's a high number. I don't think that's a low number. I think that's probably, a lot of people will look at it and say, yeah, that's kind of low. I get a lot more than that. Okay, well, let's just stick with 50 a day. Now, there's a Gartner survey from years ago that they went around, studied North American knowledge workers, the office workers, and they determined that North American knowledge worker, which includes salespeople, looks at an email 3.5 times before they take action on it. There'll be those emails, of course. I want to make sure that's still working there. There'll be those emails, of course, that we look at once and we delete it and they're gone. There'll also be those emails that, let's say it's the request from our manager for an update on the Acme account. And, it's all right, well, I'll get to that later. I got a few other things to do. I close the email, I go back to work. A few other things, a little time goes by, 30 minutes, 40 minutes goes by, go back, I scan my email. So, oh yeah, there's that email from, what did he want again? Oh yeah, he wanted the update on the Acme account. Okay, I'll come back to that later. there'll be a lot of emails that we come back to again and again and again, just because we don't clear them out of our inbox. And on average, Gartner said, hey, that's 3.5 times, that you're looking at that email. Now I want to ask you this: how much time are you spending on your average email? Again, there'll be those that we just look at for a couple of seconds and boom, they're gone. I deleted it. Goodbye. But there'll be those other ones that are more involved, like the sales manager asked me for the update on the Acme account. That might actually take me about 10 or 15 minutes to craft a response, to make sure that I'm giving them the accurate information. Got to go look it up. Got to make sure I write it correctly, blah, blah, blah. There may be the response to the customers, that take a little bit longer. Okay. I'm going to say, for the sake of our discussion, that averages out to about 30 seconds. And you might say, Scott, that's kind of low. Well, good. Let's just keep it low and you'll see why. Okay. Now, I want to talk about interruptions. How often are you interrupted at work? I mean, there are those obvious interruptions where colleague kind of jumps in on you and says, "Hey, what are we doing for lunch today?" Or, "You got a minute?" Or maybe you're hijacked in the hallway by the sales manager. "Hey, we got a meeting. We need to talk to you. No, we got to huddle up quick. All right, we got to talk about the Acme account. Got to have a quick meeting." So there are those kind of interruptions. But I also want to bring to your attention the interruptions like email notifications or reminders. Every time an email hits your inbox, ding, or something pops up. So the importance of this is that a study by George Mason University estimated that the cost of an interruption could be 2 to 3 times the length of that interruption. And so I want you to imagine this: you're busy working on that update on the Acme report that you're sending to your sales manager, and then the colleague bops into your cubicle or your office and says, "Hey, what are we doing for lunch today?" And that's a quick response. "Oh no, I'm working at my desk. Boss needs an update on the Acme account." Okay, colleague goes running off, and you say, "All right, where was I? I was writing the thing on the Acme account, update on it." You, it may take you 10, 20, 30 seconds to kind of get back into that flow state of where you were. The point is, you don't get back into it right away. That may have been a 5 or 10 second distraction, but it's taking you 20 or 30 seconds to get back into where you were. Now, the longer the distraction, this absolutely holds true. University of California at Irvine had a study that kind of verifies this or validates this, but their number was much higher. So if we multiply all this out and we assume that we have that 2.5 times cost of interruption factor in there, what does this number represent? And I'm not talking about the numerical value, but what does it represent? Some common responses might be, "Oh, that's time that I'm wasting." Well, no, not really. It's really kind of bigger than that. It's all the time that you spend in email every day, just email. And you start figuring in text and instant messaging. Everybody's got Slack and Teams and blah blah blah. You name it. We're getting distracted all the time now. And if we add all that up, by this account, it says, hey, we're spending 218.75 minutes or 3.65 hours in email every day. And that doesn't shock anybody anymore. That's like, yeah, that's a low number. Well, that Gartner study from, about 10 years ago also said that we're spending 4.5 hours in email every day. And again, nobody's shocked by this. When I would have this discussion with people 10, 12 years ago, they'd be like, no way, man, that's kind of high. Well, it's easy that we can say, look, I'm probably spending 5, 6 hours a day in email. So with all of this time being spent just on our email, just on trying to manage, the information, there has got to be a better way to manage our day, a better way that has salespeople focusing on what is most important. And there is. That method is the Sell Smarter method. And the Sell Smarter method very basically boils down to 3 different aspects. We're going to talk about best practice tools. We're going to talk about best practice processes, which should lead to best practice behaviors. If we take the right tool, apply to it the right processes, we will have the best behavior. And that's what we want to get to. Now, the tool itself is Microsoft Outlook. And I've worked with a lot of independent consultants, solopreneurs, and even some small businesses that say, well, Scott, we don't use Microsoft Outlook. We use Gmail. Let me just kind of encourage you, if you're using like the free Gmail stuff, move up, graduate to Outlook. It's like $10 a month for the Office 365 suite for everything that you get that you're using already anyways. If you're using Excel or PowerPoint or any of that stuff, pay the $10 a month. It'll project a much more professional image. When I have people, marketers, who share with me documents that are on Google Docs, to me it just says junior varsity. It says, man, that's so sophomoric. That's unprofessional. Pay the $10 a month, move up to Office 365, get off of the free stuff, and start joining the rest of the business world in Microsoft Outlook. That's all I'm going to preach about that. I highly encourage it. And you get so many more tools with Microsoft anyways. Now, best practice processes. Let's talk about process. Now, process is just a step-by-step way of doing things so that you can do it over and over and over again. And the first one that we're going to talk about that's in the Sell Smarter method, this is one of about, I think, 7 or 8 different processes that we teach, is the 4D formula. And the 4D formula, very simple, is this. If you're going to allow an email to interrupt your day, you're working on that update on the Acme report that you got to get to your sales manager pretty soon, and then you get the notification, ding, there's something in my inbox. And if I'm going to stop working on that update to go to the inbox to get that email, then if I'm going to take a moment to do that, I want you to take an extra moment to do one of these 4Ds with that email and not leave it there sitting in your inbox. The first D is do it now. If you just stopped everything you're doing to see what came into your inbox, what's in your email, then either do something about it now. If it's a do it now, that may be a delete very easily. I mean, that's just junk mail. Delete it, get it out of there. If it's something that requires a little bit more time, then we might date activate it. There's no such thing as doing it later. I'll challenge you to show me on any calendar where later exists. I've never seen it unless it was a spoof or a joke. Let's put it on a specific date. I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to date activate it, or if I'm going to do it later today, I may move it onto my calendar. There's a way to date activate these inside of Outlook that will get it out of our inbox, and we've done something with it. Now, if I'm not going to do it now, and I'm not going to date activate it to sometime in the near future, then I might delegate it. But here, the principle behind date activation is to take our vertical to-do list and to change it. Now, in our vertical to-do list, we have a list of everything that we want to do. Scott, I just want to put this on my to-do list, and I'll get to it. Inside of Outlook, you can have that to-do bar or that to-do list. You have that task pad on the right-hand corner if anybody's ever used that. But it comes to us in a way that is kind of dysfunctional. It is just kind of lumps everything together like a regular to-do list that we've written out. And the challenge is that everything gets mixed on that big to-do list, okay? And we might have things in there like, okay, I've really got to get my expense report done. I've got to finish this update on the Acme account. Someday I'd like to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I've also got to pick up my dry cleaning. Oh yeah, and I got to go grocery shopping. The dog's hungry and I need dog food. All of this is all on our to-do list with many other important items. So we want to take this vertical to-do list and turn it into a horizontal to-do list. So instead of staring down, that vertical to-do list of 500 important things I want to accomplish in my lifetime, I'm staring now at just a single day where I might have a few things on Sunday, I got 18 things on Monday, 14 things on Tuesday, and I am assigning a specific date. It may be the deadline. It may be the time by which I need to get it done. We can do this inside of Outlook, and it will help us stay focused on it. So I don't have, as a salesperson, I don't have follow up with 500 different customers on a to-do list just sitting there that isn't assigned to a specific date. We start putting importance to it. We start putting dates to it, okay? All right, now if I'm not going to do it now, and I'm not going to date activate it, I'm not going to do it at all, I might delegate it. If I got a sales admin, hey, you know what, write a new proposal for the Acme account. We're going to update pricing. We got to get a new proposal out to them. I might not be doing that. I might have a sales admin or somebody who can help me. I'll delegate it. There's a way to delegate tasks inside of Outlook to where we can follow up on those and make sure that they're getting done by those to whom we delegate. Now, here's a little trick and a little key to it. The guiding principle for delegation. If somebody on my team can do the task to 80% of my ability, I'm going to delegate it to them. I'm going to give them the chance to work on it, to improve their skill set, and really to just try to free me up to get to higher value items, higher importance items. Okay. Lastly, if I'm not going to delegate it, if I'm not going to do any of that, it's a delete it or file it away. Okay. Get rid of it, get it out of your inbox. Like I said, if you're going to, stop what you're doing to go to your inbox and check email, take an extra moment to do something with it. Now, that's a process. That is an example of a process. Let's talk about some best practice behaviors. And these behaviors that the Sell Smarter method will start teaching, we apply the process to the tool in the right way. These behaviors start emerging quickly, almost immediately. The first of which is don't use your inbox as an opening screen. How many times have I worked with customers, clients, where I see they launch Outlook and the first screen they have is the inbox, and I used to be this way, and all I see is just the hundred or so emails that came in overnight, or since I checked it in the morning on my way into the office, and I just see the email sitting there when I launch Outlook, and immediately I start scanning through it, and I start trying to get this one and do that one and do that one, reply to that one, and email is very addictive. It gets us sucked into it, and we start forgetting about time. And so, may forget that we have other important things that need to get done because you know what? I'm feeling productive. I'm knocking out emails. Boom, 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 boom. Well, guess what? Instead of Outlook, putting me in that reactive mode just by the sheer fact that by default it opens to its inbox, I'm going to change the opening screen to put me in a more proactive mode. And I'll show you this in just a moment. We don't want to use inbox as the opening screen. Second best behavior, clear your inbox every day. And say, yeah, that's a pipe dream, really. Well, you know what? If we're applying the 4D formula to all of our emails, if we are taking that extra moment to do something with that email when we stop our day, then this actually becomes a reality, becomes very true. Now, this is just at the end of the day. You can't control what happens overnight, and you can't control what you do with your smart device during, from the time you leave the office to the time you get back in the morning. Okay. Third behavior, schedule uninterrupted time for email. Now, again, this might seem like a pipe dream and not reality. Scott, I deal with customers, and when an email comes in, I got to do something about it. I don't have the luxury of just, scheduling 2 or 3 times a day only to hit my emails. That's fine. That's good. If you can't do that, if you can't just, schedule 2 or 3 times in a day uninterrupted to process your email, then just rely on the 4D formula. That when you do go to your inbox, when you do open an email, apply the 4D and do something about it. Get it done. Don't just sit there and do nothing about it. Take a moment, make a decision, and do something about that email using the 4D. Is that something I got to do now? If not, date activate. When am I going to do it? What day? Or is it delegated, or do I just file it away? Okay. Next, read emails once. Apply the 4D. I can't harp on this enough. Okay. And then the fifth one, convert emails into tasks, appointments, and contacts. That's a way that we process it. And we'll show you that. I'll give you a brief example of it in today's demonstration. Now, here's my claim to you. My promise to you is that if you can utilize these behaviors, these are just 5 of the top 10 that we teach in the program. If you utilize these 5 behaviors, here's what's going to happen. Let's take a look at this. Number 1, I can't really control the number of emails that you get on a daily basis. We can apply some filters and probably reduce the numbers there, okay, a little bit, and help you out a little bit. But your biggest one is going to be when you read email once, instead of going back to the email 3.5 times a day, you hit it once, you make a decision about it. Now, when you do that, I'm going to take that 30 seconds and I'm going to say, man, I'll give you 3 minutes. I'll increase the factor. Instead of just 30 seconds, I'll give you up to 3 minutes average to deal with those 50 emails. I'm going to give you more time. Look, slow down, take that moment to make a decision, and here's what will happen. The other thing is we're going to turn off the interruptions. We're going to get rid of that. We get rid of those email interruptions. We get rid of all of that. And when that happens, when we slow down to make decisions, What ends up happening is we now go down to 150 minutes in email a day, or only 2.5 hours. That's an extra hour every day. This is just the time savings where you can start dealing with more leads, where you can start uh, completing those high value activities that we say we just don't have time to do. Because salespeople, remember, we got a million things that we got to do, and all of them are very important, right? Okay, so we get that down. Let me show you then a little bit here with a live demonstration. And I want to take you, this is my live desktop. I'm going to launch Outlook. It is not open on my screen. Here's live Outlook. Here we go. And this is my opening screen. Boom. When you start with this view instead of the inbox view, here's what I've got. You're going to be more proactive. I get to see my calendar. These are my time commitments, where my physical presence is required today. One day, just today. Some people say, Scott, I like to see the whole week. That's fine. You can switch to the whole week after you do this, after you switch to this. And let me just do this quick. I want to give you the whole experience. Boom, there we go. Here's where I've got to be, my time commitments today. And then over here, I have the to-do bar, the task pad. And it is a very specialized, customized task pad. If you show your to-do bar on your view right now, you won't see this. This has to be customized. We'll show you how to do it in the workshop. It is a date activated. These are only the to-dos I've got to get done today. And they are ranked by high, normal, and low. Let me just collapse these so you can see that a little bit better. High, normal, and low. To me, high priority means I've got to get it done today. I cannot go home. My workday is not over unless I've got all of these done. After I've got those done, I've got my normals that I'd like to get done, catch up on some stuff. You see here, I've got a lot of research and things that I do. And then the low items, if I'm just so bored, I've gotten all these other things done and I'm looking for things to do, then I've got my low. But these are still on my to-do list, okay? I see all of that before I see inbox. 9 things in my inbox, 3 things in my junk mail. I see all of this before I even look at my email. And when I've done that, now I get to make a judgment call. And that judgment call is simply, do I have time to go to my inbox? And if the answer is no, I've got a meeting or something else to do, then there you have it. Now, I want you to contrast that to this, because a lot of people, they just open up to right here, and I'll even get rid of that. That might be how you see Outlook in the morning. That might be the way that you see it. Okay, now if I see this first thing in the morning, then Shazam, guess what? I am not being proactive. I'm immediately in reactive mode. So what I want to do is I'm going to take a brief moment to show you how to change your view and make that one-day view with to-do bar your view. First thing you'll do from here is you're going to click on your calendar folder. First of all, your folder list should always be displayed on the left-hand side. And you'll see that I got the folder icon here. If you don't see that folder icon down here in the bottom left corner among these other icons, you can change it by clicking on the ellipsis. Click on your navigation options. Make sure that you have folders lifted to the top there. Mine's already there. Yours may be somewhere down here. Click OK. And then you have folder. I like to navigate with my folder. So when I have my complete folder list of everything I have in Outlook right here staring me in the face, now I'll click on calendar. Now you probably will see this view when you click on calendar, the week view or the month view. Make sure you click on the day view. And from here, then we're going to also want to show the to-do bar. So click on view, and we're going to show our to-do bar over here. Click on to-do bar. We want that to show tasks. You click on tasks, and then boom, you probably have a to-do bar over here that either is completely empty or completely filled with junk, and you have no clue of what's going on over there. If you can't make sense of that right now, then go ahead and close that and by clicking the X up here in the right, remove it from the view. But we want this to be customized, and to customize it, don't have time in this little webinar to show you how. Now, to save this view, here's what you do. From here, you click on File, and you'll get over here to the account information. Find options down here in the lower right of, or I'm sorry, the lower left of the pane. Click on Options. The options come up, and when this Outlook options dialog box pops up, search down here on the left, find Advanced, click Advanced, and then you're going to see right here, kind of in the middle, it says Outlook Start and Exit. And yours probably says Inbox here. If yours says Inbox, click on that Browse button. Click the Browse button, find Calendar. Okay, if yours looks like that, it looks like Inbox. Find Calendar, click on Calendar, and then click OK, and then click OK. Boom. Now, that's all you need to do to make this your opening screen. Okay? If you do that, I promise you, you're going to be in a more proactive mode every single day. And if you learn how to use that to-do bar, then you're going to be even more prioritized and more focused and make even better decisions on what comes next. Now, the next thing that I had for you was to show you a live demonstration of processing. And let me just go back. Let me switch back to that. Okay, so this is a workflow method. Quick switch of my view, and I want to show you a few things. Number one, when I do go to my inbox, well, actually, let me go through it this way. I just opened this up, and I've got to decide. Here's where I've got to be. Here's what I've got to do, and I got some stuff sitting in my inbox, and I've got right here my number one task. I've got to contact Wiley E. Coyote to follow up on him. Oh yeah, that's the important Acme account. So I've got this task in front of me, double click that to open it, and you will see way down here in the bottom left, something called contacts. You don't have this. I promise you, you don't have this because Outlook or Microsoft took this linking function out of Outlook about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. But there's a way to put it back in there, and we show you how to do that in the workshop. Here's why it's important, because if I've got this task that says Wiley E. Coyote, follow up on contact, then from here I can just double click Wiley E. Coyote, and here I am. You know, it shows me the master planner view here, and you know, I can go to the contact record. Boom. Inside of the contact record is all of my history with Wiley E. Coyote. If I make a practice of capturing my notes here with them, say, oh yeah, okay, meeting schedule, left message, I got to follow up on the contract. Oh yeah, here's the inside of this notes section. I can type notes up to 10,000 lines of information. And I can even add in links to other documents, anything on my files. I can add in any kind of link there. Okay, so if I needed to call him, you know, I've got his phone number here, or email him, you know, directly there. I've got this all linked together. I can launch a call from here. I can send him an email. I can do whatever it is I need to do with Wiley E. Coyote right here. Now, if you don't already have a CRM, this is a very decent tool to start using to help you track your sales and your customers and everything that's going on and make sure they don't slip through the cracks. This won't replace any other kind of CRM. In fact, I highly recommend you look at other things like Pipedrive, HubSpot, and Dynamics, as well as a few others out there, because they link very well with Outlook. Salesforce, of course, is very popular as well. But if you don't do that, you at least need to be using this. Now, let's say I make that phone call to Wiley E. Coyote today. I just come in here and say, okay, 682022. He wants to sign new contract. Okay. Sent him email with it. I can email him. If I click that and say email, boom, It launches an email, and Wiley E. Coyote, Acme Corp, I can send it to him, send him the email, send him the contract. Fantastic. Okay. Now, as I close that all down, let's just say I sent him that email. All right. Now I sent him the email. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to create a task to follow up with him. When do I want to follow up with him? Now, by default, here's a little peculiarity about Outlook again, is that it will automatically create these as um, task assignments. So I'm going to click the cancel assignment there. And now my subject is Wiley Coyote, whatever, follow up. Going to assign a start date to this. When do I want to follow up with them? Let's just say on Monday, the 13th. Now, here's the thing, priority. Is that high, normal, or low? For me, that's high because that has to deal with money. I do not need a reminder on it. And down here, I can type whatever kind of notes to remind me of it. In this case, sent contract, follow up, blah. Okay. I save and close it. I'm back here to Wiley E. Coyote. I'm done with Wiley. I close that. Boom. Do you want to save my changes? Yes. Save and close that. Close out of him. I've completed this one. Mark it complete. Boom. I'm done there. And guess what? I am now back here at Command Central. Where do I have to be? Nowhere. What do I have to do? I got a few other things I got to do here. Oh, I got some stuff in my inbox. I got to finish this up. All right. Well, let me go to my inbox. Now I'm looking here. Okay, there's that Wiley Coyote. It does that. I'm going to archive it. Actually, I'm going to drag that to tasks and just put it in there. I'm looking at my inbox. Somebody messaged me on LinkedIn. Delete. Cardone keeps on sending me stuff. Delete. Something about fasting. Delete. It's all junk. It's all garbage. I delete that. Will from Uplead. Delete. I did leave something here that I want to show you, however, where this one down here from last week, I brought this out, a billing thing from HostGator. Now, this I know I don't have to do until July 1st. And so what I'm going to do to get this out of my inbox, this one down here at the very, very bottom, is I'm going to grab it with the right mouse button, grab it, drag it, release it. We show you how to do this. I'm not going to go through all the mechanics of it. It's right click, drag and drop. And then this very interesting secret menu pops up. So I can copy it here as text, copy it as attachment, or move here with attachment. I'm going to delete this once I'm done with it, but I'm going to move it here with the attachment. If I click that, boom, here's what happens. A new task is created. The subject of the task is regarding, is the same subject as the email. The email comes in as an attachment. I can double click that email and it'll open it up. I don't have to deal with this until July 1st, so I might put it here till June 29th, okay? And I'm going to make that high priority because it has to get paid, okay? Now that I'm done with it, I hit save and close, and boom, guess what? It's gone. It's not over here. I don't see HostGator blah, blah, blah over here. But let me show you where I will see it. If I click on my calendar, and I come down here to, I think it was on the 29th, and there's another thing that I have to get that daily task list. Let's make that normal. Here it is down here. Boom. On the 29th, I click 29th here, and it's right there. Information, Oh, double click that, open it up. That's the one that I just created. Okay. I got it out of sight, out of mind. I don't need to be bothered by that until the 29th. Now, I'm back here at my home view, and guess what? I now can decide again. If I come back to today, where do I have to be? What do I have to do? Do I have time for email? Okay, that is a very brief description or display of how we can make Outlook our command central. And my promise to you is this: if you're a salesperson, even if you're not a salesperson, my promise to you is this: is that If you implement this system, this program, and how you use Outlook to manage your workday, and as a salesperson, number one, you're not going to forget on follow-ups if you follow the process. It won't fall through the cracks anymore. Okay. Number two, number two, you'll have more time for follow-ups and those high value activities that need to be completed to close more sales. You're going to be more focused on the things that need to be done when you start looking at your list, high, normal, and low. You're going to have more time to focus in on those important activities. And the result will be you're going to close more sales. Your time's going to be maximized with the existing skill set that you have. Okay. So let's talk about how to implement it. How do you implement it? Well, very simple. Sell smarter with Microsoft Outlook. That says May 18th. That was the last live program. June 15th. June 15th. To get yours on June 15th, there will be a link. You'll probably get some follow-up emails. There's a link in the post here somewhere. You will also get some follow-up emails. When you go to the page, just type in the coupon code summer-sale, all caps, summer sale. If you registered for this and you got the emails, you're going to get blasted with this summer sale thing. And look, we also have a money back guarantee. I try to make this as risk-free as possible. This is how I can help. I'm trying to help people here. And number one, taking this 90% off with a coupon code. Number two, the money back guarantee. If it doesn't help you at all, then we will actually refund your money. All right. There is no reason to not do it, to not try to get better. So click the link, join the class. I'm grateful for your time here today. That's all I'm going to harp about the class. No more. Okay. That's all I'm going to harp on about that. It'll be up to you to make yourself better, to start reclaiming the time that gets stolen from you every single day by this program. So do that. And I want to thank you very much for the time that you have spent with us today. And it's been my joy, my pleasure. And as I like to sign off, God bless and keep on selling.